Here are my 18 tiny habits that helped me find a true, authentic purpose after retiring from my athletic career. Now, I've actually split them into different categories because I noticed some were coming back to a very similar idea, but they were different habits. So to start off with, we are going to start with the category of mind-body presence, that of which helps regulate your nervous system and initiates healing. The first one is 5 minutes of breath work before I touch my phone. Obviously, when we wake up, I have an alarm to wake up as well, which is on my phone. So it's so easy to, let me just check my one email, or let me just check one message, even though we all know we shouldn't be doing it. But that instantly disrupts your brain going from melatonin to what it's meant to go to, which is serotonin. Melatonin is the hormone that helps you stay asleep. And when you wake up, serotonin, which is a happy hormone, is meant to be produced, okay? However, you check one email that stimulates some stress, or you check one message that stimulates your stress, or simply changes your thinking pathway, you are basically allowing negativity into the start of your day, and you're blocking that serotonin production. So the breath work also helps you calm your nervous system before you do read a negative email or a stressful email or a stressful message. And it basically helps you control how you start your day. As many people say, how you start your day is often how you go throughout your day. If you start your day in a calming, controlled, grounded manner, chances are you're going to go throughout your day, my goodness, in a more calming, grounded manner. The second one is body scans in the shower. I actually get some of my best ideas in the shower because there's no distractions whatsoever. I get some great ideas when I'm in the shower, but one thing that helps is if I notice I'm overthinking in the shower about just one thing that I shouldn't be overthinking about, I tend to body scan, okay? And it's simply going from the top of my head down to my feet, acknowledging different parts of my body and allowing them to relax. And because of the water dripping down and a comfortable temperature, I tend to actually genuinely relax those muscular areas of my body more. And it helps me feel more grounded, and then I get these great ideas. The third one is naming emotions out loud, where you give naming and you acknowledge actually what you're feeling rather than I'm feeling something. You actually can name what you're feeling, therefore you have power over the feeling. The next one is tapping and the 4x4 box breathing method whenever I was feeling anxious. So tapping EFT is like tapping your chest, your collarbone, somewhere on your face, or the 4x4 box breathing method, which is where you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. I've talked about it in another video, but basically it was my two go-to methods whenever I felt I was anxious, because when you are feeling anxious or you have feelings of anxiety, your heart rate will go up and therefore you will breathe faster. And what you want to do is learn to calm yourself down and get your beats per minute back down to normal. And EFT, tapping EFT, and the box breathing method helps with that. The fourth one is accepting how I truly felt. I stopped pretending I was okay and just allowed myself to be. I gave myself permission to truly feel how I felt. Category 2 is mental clarity and emotional rewiring. Tip number 6 is the one thought audit. So essentially, I'll write down 3 thoughts that I'm having and I will challenge them in a way that serves me, and a way that is coming from self-compassion rather than the inner critic. Tip number 7 is the theta wave visualization. If you don't know what theta is, it's essentially a very deep brainwave state. When you are a child and you're first born, from ages of 0 to 7, your theta state is really, really high and more pronounced, okay? So in your theta state of, brain waves, firstly, that's how you change your subconscious mind, and it helps you tap into your subconscious mind. And if you look at like a baby, right, they aren't really bothered about their environment. They're usually pretty happy. They're not worried about other people's judgment, etc. And that's because they're living in the theta wave brain state. So when you do visualization. Visualizing the future or the present, what I would always do is try and get into the theta wave brain state simply through certain meditation practices. And this helps reprogram my own mind and my own brain in a calming manner. And you can't reprogram your brain or your mind in a non-calming manner, okay? For example, in like beta state. Beta state is the brainwave state that most of us just live in day to day. You can't reprogram your brain in that state. So you need to get into the deeper brainwave states. And if you want to change your present and therefore change your future, you need to get into the theta wave brain state, which is why I call it theta wave visualization. Tip number 8 is the 90-second emotional rule. Whenever I'm feeling a high emotion, more so when it's negative, right? I will give myself 90 seconds before I react. This gives me a moment to actually understand what is it that I'm feeling and name that feeling, and also go about that emotion in a proactive manner rather than like an outburst. Number 9 is habit stacking mindsets. For example, journaling right before I go to bed, or getting my clothes out for the gym in the morning right before bed, or reading, a few pages of a book every single day, and stacking these habits, which helps you use your time more efficiently. But just in general, there's so many habits that we all know we should be doing and habits that we know we shouldn't be doing. Nonetheless, we usually do the habits that we shouldn't be doing rather than the habits that we should be doing, because what we should do is often harder, right? So if you create habits to make those actions easier for you and create less friction, therefore your life is going to improve over time, right? So simple habits like reading, journaling, meditating, getting out my clothes before bed, whatever it might be. Even just down to like basic household things like always having clean sheets every week. For some reason, when I have clean sheets in the bed, it makes me feel like I have a better sleep, and it's almost an act of self-care, not only for me, but for my partner as well. So just like little things like that, habit stacking mindset. Number 10 is creating before consuming. No scrolling before I write, or no scrolling before I breathe, or no scrolling before I do some sort of physical output. For me to scroll on my phone, I have to reward myself in some way, okay? There has to be a reason that I deserve to scroll on my phone. Because at the end of the day, there's more important things that you should be doing and that I should be doing rather than scrolling on our phones. Tip 11 is investing in myself. You are only going to be as good for yourself and others as how you treat yourself, okay? And so if you want to be the best version of yourself for your partner or your future kids, or simply like clients, if you work with clients and you're a business owner, you are only going to be as best of value to anyone that you care about as you are towards yourself. And the best investments that you can ever make are the ones that you make towards yourself. Why? Because when you improve yourself, you improve your life. And therefore, if you improve yourself and you improve your life, you can improve other people's lives as well. Therapy, coaching, courses, I became something that was worthy of investing in. And I became someone worth showing up for. Tip 12 is becoming courageous enough to ask for help. I used to have a huge mentality around, I can do everything myself. Everything's, up to me, but it's all good. I'll figure it out kind of thing, which was stopping me and blocking me from healing, but also stopping me and blocking me from achieving things in a much faster pace. You see, vulnerability turned out to be literally my superpower. You might even notice it on my channel. A lot of you can relate to me because I'm vulnerable and because I'm authentic. If I wasn't able to be vulnerable or authentic, you probably couldn't relate to me and you probably wouldn't believe the things I'm saying. But it was the same for just like general day-to-day life. If I needed help with something, for example, I have a pretty bad foot, I used to have a habit of not asking for help and therefore making my foot even worse, right? And just pushing through the pain, which was stopping me and blocking me from healing physically my foot, right? So instead, if my foot's feeling really bad, I will ask someone for help. Like, for example, hey, can you please bring me my dinner? Or, can you please grab me a glass of water at the end of the day when I've stood on my foot maybe a little bit too much, and not being afraid to ask for a helping hand. Category 3 is purpose reconnection. This has to do with your identity and getting to know your true self. When you get to know your true self, therefore your true purpose and what you are put here to do becomes a lot more clearer. So tip number 13, with that being said, is a morning mantra of I am more than what I achieve. Because if you constantly tie your worth to what you achieve, you are always going to be in a state of chasing, and therefore you are lacking. And how are you ever going to feel of value or of worth if it is tied to some sort of external achievement? How are you going to be an attractive person when you genuinely feel like you lack? What is daily visualization towards my younger self? Essentially, this has got to do with inner child healing. Many people have childhood wounds or scars that show up in their adult life that stop them and block them from being their true self and attracting the things that they genuinely want. And a lot of the healing can be found when you meet with your inner child. For me, I knew I had a lot of things that showed up in my adult life, and it became a lot more evident when I lost my sporting career that was stopping me and blocking me from healing, attracting the wrong kind of people into my life. And it was truly awakening to, understand all of these things and change the belief systems there. And I truly believe like majority of people do have wounds and scars from their childhood. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you had a bad relationship with your parents and whatnot. There is just so many things that you're so fragile to during your developmental years that affect your nervous system and affect the way that your brain develops or the way that your brain is wired. But the thing is here, it's all possible to heal, and that of which, for me, I found tremendous healing in some of the inner child wounds. Tip number 15 is gratitude for playing the sport that I once did. I learned to honor the past rather than regret it or have like a negative perspective towards it. Now, whenever, certain, there's still movies that will play in my head of, certain scenarios that happened during my athletic career, but I look on it in a perspective of gratitude and just being so grateful that I was able to experience that. Because the truth is, not everyone has a chance, firstly. A lot of sports require a lot of money that your parents or sponsors or someone would have had to invest in. Secondly, a lot of people just never become technically good enough. And thirdly, there are a lot of things that you would have sacrificed in order to be successful. But to be able to look at it all in a state of gratitude, like I genuinely feel so blessed to be able to do what I did. And there's no resentment or anger or guilt or like any sort of negative perspective. So having gratitude towards my sport and still having gratitude towards my sport has been an absolute game changer. Tip number 16 is helping someone every single week anonymously, meaning I don't know who they are, but I will try and help someone anonymously. Sometimes this shows up in ways of my content, like I'm helping someone right now and I don't know what your name is, I don't know who you are, but I know I'm helping you. And sometimes it just shows up in just random scenarios, like an old woman can't pick up something off the ground, I'll get it for her. You see, you find a lot of purpose through quiet contribution. And this is also really good for ex-athletes because you realize that you don't have to have eyeballs on you. You don't have to be seen in order to feel worthy. You don't have to be seen by hundreds and thousands of people that you did a good thing or that you did a right thing. Tip number 17 is asking myself, who am I becoming? Not what should I do? Because when you focus your intention or the constant thought on, what should I do? You're not actually going to find the answer until you focus on who you are becoming instead. Because when you focus your intention on who you are becoming, you get to know who you truly are, and therefore the answer of what should you actually do will show up for you. And you will know it within your whole heart, your whole soul. There will be no doubt there will be no hesitation. And the good thing is if you loved your sport and you adored your sport, you already know what that feeling is. So when it comes up again in the future for you, because you focus on who you are becoming, it is just so obvious. And again, there's no doubt there. And yes, it's very relieving, but it's so reassuring because you've focused on who you are becoming instead of what should you do on a daily basis. And tip number 18 is selfishly wanting better for myself. Not for likes, not for money, not for validation, not for eyeballs, nothing like that. Simply wanting better for myself because I know I deserve it, okay? Wanting better for myself in terms of everything, not wanting to feel all of the anxiety, not wanting to feel so low. All of these things, just selfishly wanting better for myself every single day. And then brick by brick, meaning day by day, I did start to actually genuinely have and feel like I was, healing. And therefore, when you, become more and more and more healed, you do actually have more positive things for yourself and better things for yourself because you attract that. When your energy is up here in a positive way because you have positive thoughts and you like yourself and you want better for yourself, you are going to attract those kinds of things. Whereas if you hate yourself and you don't like yourself and you have a lot of negative thought patterns and negative beliefs towards yourself, you are only going to attract that level of a frequency, which is a very low frequency, right? And so yeah, you really can't change your life until you genuinely want better for yourself and you choose yourself every day in, a selfish manner, but you are the only one living your life. My final message for you is, amongst these 18 tiny habits that helped me find my purpose, initially, and for quite a few years, I thought I would find my purpose out there, somewhere out in the world. Or in some circumstances, I genuinely thought in another life, I would win. In another life, I wouldn't have lost my sport. In another life, the surgeries would have worked. But what I realized is that in order to find my purpose, I had to come home to myself first. And I always say, you have a home inside of you. You have peace inside of you. You have all of the answers inside of you. And if you truly want to find your true purpose, your most authentic purpose that, isn't your athletic career, then you have to get to know you. You have to come home to who are you? Who are you at your most authentic self? So essentially, these 18 tiny habits are like tiny little breadcrumbs. But all of these little breadcrumbs, all of these tiny habits helped me find who I truly was, helped me heal, and that's how I found my purpose. And again, when you find that purpose, because you have focused on who you are becoming within these 18 tiny habits, you will know. There will be absolutely no doubt there. And you will be courageous enough to go after that purpose because you have that feeling where you're like, this is what I'm meant to do. And if you felt that once in your sport, I guarantee you, not only will you find that again if you go inwards, but secondly, you are just so grateful and blessed to know what that feeling is, okay? A lot of people grow up not ever loving what they do. They don't know what it means to love and adore their job or love and adore what their purpose is. A lot of people don't know what that feeling is. And if you loved your sport, you are so grateful and blessed to know what that feeling is. And that's something I carry with me, every single day. Nonetheless though, these 18 habits truly did help me find my purpose after retirement. And so I encourage you to take them in to this new chapter of your life because everyone deserves to live a life of meaning, live a life that is most authentic to them. But also, I truly do believe everyone has a purpose. You were put here for a reason. And you know what? In a non-toxic positivity way, sometimes there's like toxic positivity, right? In the most non-toxic positive way, I do see that I lost my career for a reason. I see why it all happened now. I know at the time it's hard to see that. But again, now that I truly believe everyone was put here for a purpose, you were here for a reason, and if you focus on you in order to find that, eventually you will come even potentially back to me and say to me, oh my goodness, I lost my career for a reason as well. I lost my sport for a reason as well. And then you see it in a positive way, that of which helps you accumulate even more gratitude for your sporting career. But that's it for today's video, guys. If it resonated with you, drop a like, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, definitely do so.